So let's dive into the economic policies now. We'll look at the main economic beliefs of liberals, conservatives, and libertarians. Then we'll break down the two major tools the government uses to influence the economy: fiscal policy and monetary policy, and how different ideologies approach them. Okay, we'll start with the liberal economic perspective. Generally, liberal views support more government regulation of the economy. Liberals believe the government should play an active role in managing the economy to protect workers, limit inequality, and prevent businesses from causing harm to people or the environment. They often support higher taxes on the wealthy, strong labor protections, environmental rules, and programs that help low-income families. The goal is to create a fairer economic system, even if that means more government involvement. Okay, let's pause there for a second. You might be realizing already that there are going to be a lot of ideas and concepts you're going to need to remember. That's why I've made the 4-hour Exam Ready Playbook, a study and review guide that you can complete while watching the video. Grab it through the link in the description and practice what you're learning while watching, all in just 4 hours. With this guide, it's never too late to prepare for the exam. Now, let's get back to the lesson. Conservative views support less government regulation of the economy because they think businesses are best suited to growing an economy. Conservatives believe that the economy works best when individuals and businesses have the freedom to make their own decisions without too many government rules. They tend to support lower taxes, less government spending, and fewer restrictions on businesses. Conservatives often argue that a free market leads to more jobs, more innovation, and more personal responsibility. Libertarians go one step further than conservatives. They are ideologically opposed to big government, wanting minimal government involvement in the lives of citizens as possible in order to maximize personal freedom. Libertarians believe the government should mostly stay out of the economy, except to protect property rights and ensure that people are free to make voluntary agreements. They usually oppose government spending, taxes, and regulations, and they think the marketplace should be trusted to solve most problems on its own. For libertarians, economic freedom is one of the most important values. Okay, let's move on to fiscal policy and how it is shaped by different beliefs. Fiscal policy refers to the use of government spending and taxation to influence the economy. There are two major schools of thought about fiscal policy: Keynesian economics and supply-side economics. Let's start with Keynesian economics. Keynesians believe that the government should spend more money during hard times to help stimulate the economy. For example, during a major recession, when the economy is slowing down and people are losing jobs, the government may choose to spend billions on building new infrastructure like railway lines. The idea is that this government spending can help restart the economy by increasing the amount of money moving through the economy and providing a source of jobs for citizens. You might have guessed that Keynesian economics tends to be embraced more by liberals. Now let's look at supply-side economics. Supply-siders believe that the best way to grow the economy is to help businesses and wealthy people keep more of their money. Businesses will then use that money to invest and create more jobs. This usually means cutting taxes and reducing regulations. You might have guessed that supply-side economics tends to be embraced more by conservatives and libertarians. Okay, let's move on to monetary policy, which is controlled by the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is the American central bank. It is often colloquially called the Fed. The Fed's job is to keep prices stable and employment strong, so the economy grows at a healthy pace. To achieve this goal, the Fed needs to control excessive inflation, which is a scenario where prices start going up too fast, making life harder for everyone. The key lever the Fed has for controlling inflation is adjusting interest rates. If inflation is too high, the Fed increases interest rates, which puts downward pressure on inflation. If inflation is too low, which is often a sign of a struggling economy, the Fed decreases interest rates, which puts upward pressure on inflation. Remember, the goal is to keep prices stable. We don't want them going up or down too fast. Here's a simple household example, and imagine inflation is too high and grocery prices keep going up every time you go to the store. To address this, the Fed increases interest rates. As a result, your parents' mortgage repayments on your house may go higher, and therefore they will have less disposable income. So they decide not to go out for dinner this month. In this example, the Fed achieved its goal of stopping your parents from spending money, which helped to cool the economy and slow down inflation. When the Fed decreases interest rates, the opposite happens. Your parents' mortgage payments may decrease, giving them more money to spend in the economy, causing the economy to speed up again. Importantly, the Fed operates independently from Congress and the president, meaning it can't be ordered to raise or lower interest rates by politicians. As a result, it can focus on long-term stability instead of short-term political goals. Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson on how ideology shapes economic policymaking. On the screen now are the key terms from this lesson. I've added them all to the flashcard set and glossary of terms, which you can grab through the link in the description. If you're following along with the study guide and free response question mastery playbook, check your answers for this section using the answer key before moving on.